What is going on, YouTube? All right, so today we have something really stoked. Now, I kind of did a spoiler a couple of videos ago. I have a new product I'm gonna be unboxing today. Oh man, I'm so excited for this. You ready? You ready? Ha! This is an inverter that I purchased for the truck. It is a Giandel 2200 constant watt, 4400 watt peak with solar panel inputs. That is freaking awesome. Talking about taking the Yukon to the next level. All right, here we go. Let's start it, get it out of the box. All right, so simple packaging, styrofoam, it's okay. User manual right up on top. Let's see what we got. A little notice card, thank you card, not bad. We got battery cables. This one here is actually pretty interesting. Instead of, I guess, putting like a two gauge or even a 0 gauge, they doubled up. I'm not sure exactly what gauge wire this is. I think this might be a 4 gauge. You got the lugs over here. I'm assuming that this small one goes onto the inverter side, and then the bigger one here would go to the battery side. Shockproof pads. But it's a bunch of small screws in this. It's okay, we're gonna be upgrading this stuff anyways. Then the unit itself. Oh man, this thing is not small. That's my iPhone 7 Plus, just to give a comparison on how big this thing is. Right here at the end, we got something. We'll pull that off to the side. Oh, hold on, let's see. Oh, this is the remote switch. So we can put the inverter anywhere in the truck. We can place it somewhere, that way we can turn the inverter off and on. And then the inverter itself. Now, a couple of the key features of why I picked this particular inverter is because it has a pure sine wave. What that does is it regulates the power, the electricity, or the AC power coming out. That's really good for certain sensitive equipment, computers, phones, other stuff like that. 2200 watts should be just enough power for me to use. It's 44 surge. This also has inputs for solar power, which is pretty cool. Solar input current is 20 amps. Solar input voltage 15 volts DC. Solar input power 300 watts. Solar panel open voltage 22 volts DC. Not sure about that stuff, but I'm gonna do some more research. Now when we run over here, I was pleasantly surprised to see that they are part of the ISO 9001. Even though it says in 2015, still that means that it's quality control. This is a good unit, and even so, like, I've heard a lot of good stuff on this. Here up on the back end of the business, we got 2 fans. This is apparently intelligent fans. So these are actually blowing air out. Then we have positive, negative terminals over here. And then the more important side, we have 2 AC plugs. This is where you would hook up your solar panels over to here. This over here is your selection for charging the solar panels, either lead acid or gel batteries. Then these here are your battery status for charging with the solar panel, 11 volts all the way up to full. This is your ground, to ground the inverter. You have your little information panel here. It's pretty cool. Your on off button. The remote plug goes in here, USB. This is a 5 volt 2.4 USB charger. The information over here is pretty cool. So it gives you input of what the battery voltage status, which is pretty cool. Over here is the output kilowatts. It actually records how much kilowatts you're using. And then also output, this is for charging the batteries with the solar panel. I have my boat batteries with me actually because I'm charging it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna hook this up to the boat battery and plug in a hair dryer and test it, see how it goes. All right, so we have it connected to the battery, and let's turn it on. All right, so you can see it's gonna cycle through everything. So it's 0 output because there's no solar panels, and then what's coming in is 12.8 volts. Looks like this battery needs to be charged. I'm gonna throw it on the charger, on my little trickle charger. All right, so at least there's power. Let's plug in some stuff and see if it works. All right, so I have a little Conair hair dryer. This thing's actually supposed to be drawing about 1875 watts, so just under 1900 watts. All right, so we're plugged in. I'm gonna put it on high heat. Let's do first draw. Oh man, that's hot. Fans kicked in. Let's go full blast. All right, you know what? I'm gonna plug in my vacuum and also do this at the same time. All right, so we have our vacuum, we have the hair dryer. Okay, so you saw there that it actually cut out. I guess it was too much going on. Could also be that the battery is getting really low. As you saw there with just the hair dryer, it went down to 11 volts. So this inverter is able to handle constant 2200 watts and less. Peak wattage is at 4400. Now mind you, that peak wattage is only for like maybe about 2-3 seconds. It's good for maybe like an air conditioner where it needs like a burst of energy just to start up the motor. So I'm really happy with it. Like I said, one of the main things that I was looking forward is a high wattage inverter. Also, the fact that it's a pure sine wave inverter, being able to keep the AC current flow a lot more stable for your sensitive equipment, as well as, which was a really cool benefit to it, is the solar input. So further on down the road, you know, maybe I might want to put some solar panels on the truck, or maybe even get one of those foldable panels, so that way while I'm doing my overlanding, maybe if I'm staying at a spot for maybe 1 or 2 days and I'm using that inverter, you know, I can open up the solar panel on my hood and just charge the batteries as we're sitting there, so that way I don't have to run the truck. But for me personally, I will be using this inverter constantly. Now, I have not seen any videos on this particular unit itself. I'm really liking it so far. So yeah, so this was the unboxing. The next video on this inverter is going to be installing it, and then I will do an overtime update on the inverter, maybe about a year's time. As always, stay safe. Maybe I'll see you out there.